Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Car Chronicles. My name is Charles Inferna, the throwing coach at Nazareth College. We're a small Division III private institution located in Rochester, New York. And what I want to touch base on this morning as I make my way into work here is motivating your athletes. Now, I know motivating your athletes, that's something that I've watched a million YouTube videos on. But I've never really seen anything in any of those videos that really touches to the individual athlete. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of great motivational videos and sequences, and I could watch the Rocky motivational montages all day, every day. But as far as getting to the core of the athlete, what are some things that, as coaches, we use to try and pull the very best from our kids? And I want to start. I have just a bit of a background history here. So I originally got into track and field because I was in 7th grade, and I was a horrible athlete at everything else. I didn't try out for football in 7th grade, which would have been modified football. I got cut from the basketball team. I didn't even make first cuts for basketball in 7th grade. The middle school that I went to, modified basketball was 7th and 8th grade. I think there were like 110 kids that tried out, and I didn't even make the first cut. So after 2 days, the coaches knew that I wouldn't be able to help them at all. So the only sport that was offered in the spring that didn't have cuts was track and field. I had never done track and field before. In elementary school in 6th grade, we had like kind of like a team where each of the elementary schools in the district would kind of have a track and field competition at the end of the school year. And I was fortunate enough to make that team twice. In 5th grade, I made it in, I represented our elementary school in the 100-yard dash. And then in 6th grade, I represented our team in the 200. I'm sorry, not the 100-yard dash, I'm not that old. 100-meter dash. And then in 6th grade, I made the team in the 200-meter dash. And also in 6th grade, I won our 6th grade elementary school type Olympic festival competition. So I thought I was somewhat good going into 7th grade, but that was quickly put to rest that I was not. So track was the only sport in the spring's offerings that didn't cut anybody. I had never played lacrosse, so that was out of the question. And I was a horrible baseball player. My brother picked up all of those baseball skills. I certainly did not. So from 7th grade and even in the 8th grade, I realized very quickly that track and field, really you get out of it what you put into it. I had a great coach in 7th grade and 8th grade, Mr. Putnam, who I think is still a literacy teacher at, I think it's the high school now, but in Webster. And Mr. Buddington was our throwing coach. And very early on, I remember having a conversation with Coach Buddington, who was a Division III thrower at SUNY Geneseo. And I remember him saying, something along the lines of, track is a great sport because the results are yours and your own. There's nobody that really you can rely on in the field of competition. Where in basketball or in football or soccer or lacrosse, some athletes might disappear off the field, and you might not even realize that they're there until you need them, or until they're called upon to do something. Or in track, once you enter the circle for throwing anyway, there's nobody really there's nobody to rely on. It's you and your implement and all of the work that you've put into practicing that particular implement up until that time. So right from the get-go, I thought that was, hey, that's great. If I work hard at this, I might get good at it. So 7th grade didn't really go too well, learning how to throw the shot put in discus. But then between the summer of 7th and 8th grade, I grew about 3.5 inches. So I actually, in the beginning of 8th grade, I was hit my mature height, 6 feet or 6'1", depending on how you want to look at it. So I was 6'1" going into 8th grade. Tried out for football, made the football team, made the modified basketball team. But track is really where I got into my stride. We had a great season as far as, you know, what 8th grade middle school track is. But I remember working as hard as I possibly could every single day. Now, for what an 8th grader considers hard would be nothing compared to what some of the workouts I put my athletes through at NAS. But I started noticing that, hey, the more I practice, the more I focus, the more I compete on things, I'm getting kind of good at this. And for what it's worth, in modified track, I broke our school discus record. I still might actually have it, I'm not really sure. But I threw in 8th grade just a hair over 150 feet. I don't know if that's good or not for modified track. Probably not. There's probably athletes in every other state that have thrown well over that as 13 and 14-year-olds. But as I transitioned through high school, same thing. The more I practiced, the more I focused, I started getting better results. Where some of my teammates who weren't in it for the right reasons, it's more for social reasons, they started falling by the wayside. So we didn't have as many athletes who took it as seriously, maybe, as I did. But yeah, so working with our athletes, I've told our kids at NAS, they've heard not that story, but other stories about track's a great sport because you get out of it what you put into it. But that, I feel sometimes, that might be controversial, but some things coaches can teach, and some things coaches might not be able to teach or might not be as effective at teaching. It's tough to coach the heart of an athlete if they aren't all in 100% into the sport. I've had kids quit and not come back, and that's fine. They're very few and far between. I don't take it personally anymore. The first time it happened at Fredonia, I did. I thought it was a cool environment that I was creating for our kids, but other athletes didn't see it that way, and that's fine. I mean, it doesn't bother me anymore. But one thing, I've had more serious conversations with some of my athletes that I really can't make you do it. As coaches, we can't make our athletes compete. I can't control what happens. For example, we have our meet coming up this Thursday. I can't control what's going to happen to my kids Tuesday night, Wednesday, and even Thursday morning. I joke with them in regards to, if they're dating somebody, they send them a mean text message or something like that. That might play games with the mindset, if you will. Can't control if they're going to break up with somebody. Can't control if they don't get a good night's sleep. A lot of things are out of our control. And you hear people talk about that on ESPN a lot also, is that, all these millions and millions of dollars in college, big-time college programs are vested in 18 and 19-year-old kids who knows what might be going through their heads before the day of competition. But as coaches, what are some things that you use to help motivate those kids or guide your athletes in particular directions where you think that it will create a better situation for them, a better environment for their success? So I'm getting to work, so that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and have a very good day.